Taurus, hold up. Stop everything you are doing right now, because what I am about to show you is going to blow your mind, and I am not exaggerating. Someone in your life has been living a complete lie, and that lie is about to come crashing down in the most spectacular way possible. We are talking about secrets so dark, so shameful, that when they come to light, this person is going to lose everything. Their reputation, their security, their pride, everything they built on lies is about to crumble. And guess what happens next? They come running back to you, on their knees, desperate, broken, begging. But here is what everyone thinks is going to happen versus what actually happens. Everyone thinks when someone betrays you and gets exposed, they disappear forever, right? Wrong. The energy I am seeing here shows they come back harder than ever because you become their only lifeline. You become the only person who knew them before their world collapsed. Let me pull your first card right now, and whoa, Taurus, this is insane. I am getting the Tower reversed, not upright like everyone expects for destruction. Reversed. This means the destruction is happening internally first. This person has been living with this secret, eating them alive from the inside, and now it is ready to explode outward. The Tower reversed tells me this person has been trying so hard to prevent their downfall. They have been manipulating situations, controlling narratives, doing whatever it takes to keep their shameful secret buried. But Taurus, the universe does not work that way. When the Tower energy is reversed, it means the foundation has been cracking for months, maybe even longer, and now those cracks are about to turn into a complete structural collapse. What makes this even more intense is that the Tower reversed suggests this person knows their secret is about to be exposed. They can feel the walls closing in. They are probably acting more desperate lately, more controlling, maybe even more loving toward you, because they know what is coming. They know that when this secret comes out, you might be the only person left standing who still cares about them. The Tower reversed in your energy. Taurus means this is not going to be a quick explosion. This is going to be a slow, agonizing unraveling that this person has to watch happen in real time. They built their entire identity on hiding the shame, and now they have to watch that false identity crumble piece by piece. Can you imagine how terrifying that must be for them? Can you imagine waking up every day knowing that today might be the day your world ends? But here is what I need you to understand, Taurus. The Tower reversed also means you have been sensing something is off. Your intuition has been screaming at you that something is not right with this person. You might have questioned yourself, might have ignored those gut feelings because you did not want to believe someone you cared about could be living such a lie. But your inner wisdom knew. It always knows. The Tower reversed is showing me that when this secret finally comes to light, it is going to answer so many questions you have had. All those times something felt off, but you could not put your finger on it. All those moments when their story did not quite add up. All those instances where you felt like you were missing something important. The Tower reversed means everything is about to make perfect, crystal clear sense. Now let me pull another card to see exactly what kind of secret we are dealing with here. And oh my, Taurus, sit down for this one. I am getting the Seven of Swords. This is the card of deception, theft, lies, and getting away with something. But here is the thing about the Seven of Swords. It represents someone who thinks they are clever, who believes they have outsmarted everyone, but ultimately gets caught. The Seven of Swords in this context tells me this person has been stealing something from you, Taurus. Not necessarily money, though that could be part of it. They have been stealing your energy, your trust, your emotional investment, while living a complete double life. The Seven of Swords shows someone who takes what they want and then acts like they deserve it. Someone who justifies their deception by telling themselves they had no choice. This card is revealing to me that this person has been very calculated in their deception. This was not a mistake or a moment of weakness. The Seven of Swords represents premeditated betrayal. They planned this. They thought through how to deceive you, and then they executed that plan while looking you in the eye and pretending to care about you. That level of calculation, that level of cold manipulation is what makes this betrayal so devastating. But here is what the Seven of Swords also tells me, Taurus. This person got comfortable. They got so confident in their ability to deceive you that they became careless. The Seven of Swords often appears when someone has been lying for so long they start to believe their own lies. They start taking bigger risks because they think they are untouchable. And that overconfidence is exactly what leads to their downfall. The Seven of Swords is showing me this person has been living two completely different lives. With you, they present one version of themselves. But in secret, they are someone else entirely, someone you would not recognize, someone whose values, whose behavior, whose very character is the opposite of who they pretend to be with you. The cognitive dissonance of maintaining that level of deception is exhausting, and it is about to catch up with them. What makes the Seven of Swords even more powerful in this reading, Taurus, is that it often represents someone who believes they are the smartest person in the room, someone who thinks everyone else is too naive or too trusting to see through their games. But the universe has a funny way of humbling people who think they are above consequences. And this person is about to learn that lesson in the most painful way possible. The Seven of Swords also tells me that other people around this person are starting to notice inconsistencies in their story. This is not just about their secret being exposed to you. This is about their carefully constructed facade crumbling in multiple areas of their life simultaneously. When you live a lie, eventually you cannot keep track of all the different versions of yourself you have presented to different people. And when those versions start contradicting each other publicly, that is when everything falls apart. Now, I need to see what happens when this secret comes to light, so let me pull your next card, and Taurus. I cannot believe what I am seeing here. The Five of Pentacles. This is the card of financial ruin, material loss, being left out in the cold. But more than that, it represents the complete loss of security and stability that this person has built their identity around. The Five of Pentacles tells me that when this secret is exposed, this person loses everything material. Their job, their reputation, their financial security, possibly their home, their social standing. Everything they used to define their worth gets stripped away. The Five of Pentacles shows someone who goes from having it all to having nothing almost overnight. But here is what makes the Five of Pentacles so powerful in this reading, Taurus. It represents someone who is so focused on their material losses that they almost miss the spiritual opportunity for growth. This person is going to be so devastated by losing their external security that they might not initially recognize this is actually the universe forcing them to confront their authentic self for the first time in years. The Five of Pentacles is showing me this person walking through their life after the exposure, feeling completely lost and alone. Everyone they thought they could count on turns their back on them. Every door they thought would remain open gets slammed shut. Every safety net they believed they had disappears. They realize that all their relationships were built on the false version of themselves, and now that the truth is out, nobody wants anything to do with the real them. This card is also revealing to me the panic this person experiences when they realize the full extent of what they have lost. The Five of Pentacles represents that moment when someone looks around and realizes they have nowhere to go, no one to turn to, no resources to fall back on. Everything they worked for, everything they built, everything they thought made them valuable is gone. But here is where it gets really interesting, Taurus. The Five of Pentacles often appears when someone needs to learn humility and authentic connection. This person has been so focused on maintaining their image, on appearing successful and put together, that they never developed real, genuine relationships. They never learned how to be vulnerable or authentic because they were too busy protecting their secrets. The Five of Pentacles is telling me that this devastating loss is actually going to be the first time in years that this person has to be completely real. When you lose everything external, you are forced to confront who you are internally. And for someone who has been running from their authentic self for so long, that confrontation is going to be absolutely terrifying, but also potentially transformative. Now let me see what drives this person back to you after they lose everything. And wow, Taurus, I am pulling the Six of Cups reversed. This is so revealing. The Six of Cups reversed represents someone who is trying to return to a time in their life when things were simpler, when they felt safe and accepted. But the reversal means this return is not healthy or balanced. The Six of Cups reversed tells me this person comes back to you because you represent the only relationship in their life that predates their web of lies. You knew them before they became whoever they had to become to maintain their secret. In their mind, you represent innocence, safety, unconditional acceptance. You represent a time when they did not have to perform or pretend. But here is what makes the Six of Cups reversed so concerning, Taurus. It represents someone who wants to go backwards instead of forwards. Instead of taking responsibility for their choices and growing from this experience, this person wants to retreat to a time when their problems did not exist. They want you to be their escape from the consequences of their actions. The Six of Cups reversed is showing me this person approaching you with nostalgia and emotional manipulation. They are going to remind you of all the good times you shared together. They are going to try to make you focus on who they used to be rather than who they chose to become. They are going to paint themselves as a victim of circumstances rather than someone who made deliberate choices to deceive and betray. This card is revealing that when this person comes back to you, they are not coming back as an evolved version of themselves who has learned from their mistakes. The Six of Cups reversed means they are coming back hoping to avoid the lessons this experience is meant to teach them. They want you to provide the safety and comfort that allows them to continue being who they have always been instead of growing into who they need to become. The Six of Cups reversed also tells me this person has idealized their relationship with you, Taurus. In their mind, you represent everything pure and good in their life. But that idealization is not fair to you because it means they see you as someone who should love them unconditionally, regardless of what they have done. They see you as someone who should forgive them just because of your shared history. What makes this even more complex is that the Six of Cups reversed suggests this person genuinely believes they can go back to the way things were before. They think that if they can just get you to focus on the past, on who they used to be, then somehow their current reality will disappear. They think your love and acceptance can erase the consequences of their choices. But Taurus, the Six of Cups reversed, is also a warning for you. It is telling you that this person is going to try to manipulate your emotions and your memories to get what they want. They are going to use your compassion and your history against you. They are going to try to make you feel guilty for not welcoming them back with open arms. Let me pull another card to see exactly how this person approaches you when they come back. And Taurus, this is getting more intense by the minute. I am getting the Knight of Cups reversed. This represents someone who is emotionally manipulative, who uses their feelings and your feelings as weapons to get what they want. The Knight of Cups reversed tells me this person comes to you in full emotional mode. They are crying, they are desperate, they are pouring their heart out about how sorry they are and how much they need you. But the reversal means these emotions are being used strategically. They know exactly which emotional buttons to push to make you feel sorry for them. This card is showing me someone who has perfected the art of emotional manipulation over the years. The Knight of Cups reversed represents someone who can turn on the charm, the vulnerability, the neediness, whenever it serves their purpose. They have studied your emotional responses, Taurus, and they know exactly how to present themselves to get the reaction they want from you. The Knight of Cups reversed is revealing that when this person comes back, they are not taking responsibility for their actions. Instead, they are focusing on their feelings about the consequences. They talk about how hurt they are, how devastated they are, how they never meant for things to turn out this way. But they avoid talking about the choices they made that led to these consequences. This card tells me this person presents themselves as the victim of their own story. The Knight of Cups reversed shows someone who genuinely believes they have suffered more than anyone else involved. They are so consumed with their own emotional pain that they cannot see or acknowledge the pain they have caused others. In their mind, their suffering erases their guilt. What makes the Knight of Cups reversed so dangerous, Taurus, is that this person knows how much you care about them. They know you have a compassionate heart, and they are counting on that compassion to override your logic and your self-protection instincts. They know that if they can make you feel sorry for them, you might ignore your own boundaries and let them back in. The Knight of Cups reversed also represents someone whose emotions are completely unstable and unpredictable. One moment they are sobbing about how sorry they are, and the next moment they are angry that you are not immediately forgiving them. Their emotional state depends entirely on whether they are getting what they want from you in that moment. This card is also showing me that this person has not learned healthy ways to process their emotions. The Knight of Cups reversed represents someone who uses their feelings to avoid taking responsibility. When they feel guilty, they immediately look for someone to comfort them instead of sitting with that guilt and learning from it. When they feel ashamed, they immediately look for someone to validate them instead of examining why they feel ashamed. But here's what I need you to understand about the Knight of Cups reversed Taurus. This person is not necessarily being manipulative on purpose. They might genuinely believe their own emotional performance. The reversal suggests someone who is so disconnected from authentic emotion that they cannot tell the difference between real feelings and manufactured ones anymore. Now let me see what the universe wants you to know about how to handle this situation. And Taurus, this card is going to change everything. I am pulling the Queen of Swords upright. This is your energy. This is who you need to become to navigate this situation with wisdom and strength. The Queen of Swords represents someone who has learned to lead with logic instead of emotion, when emotion would cloud their judgment. She represents clear thinking, firm boundaries, and the ability to see through manipulation and deception. Taurus, this card is telling you that you already know what you need to do when this person comes back to you. This card is showing me that you have been developing your discernment and your ability to see people clearly rather than seeing them through the filter of who you want them to be. The Queen of Swords represents someone who loves deeply but is not naive about human nature. Someone who can have compassion without sacrificing their own well-being. The Queen of Swords is telling me that when this person comes to you with their sob story and their emotional manipulation, you are going to see right through it. You are not going to be fooled by their performance because you have learned to trust your intuition over their words. You have learned to watch what people do rather than listening to what they say. This card represents your evolution, Taurus. You are not the same person you were when this relationship began. You have grown stronger, wiser, more discerning. The Queen of Swords tells me you have learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is refuse to enable their dysfunction. Sometimes real love means letting people face the consequences of their choices. The Queen of Swords also represents your ability to communicate clearly and directly when this person comes back. You are not going to get caught up in emotional drama or circular conversations. You are going to state your boundaries clearly and stick to them regardless of how they react. You are going to speak your truth without being cruel, but also without being manipulated. This card is showing me that you have learned the difference between being compassionate and being a doormat. The Queen of Swords has a big heart, but she protects that heart fiercely. She does not let people take advantage of her kindness or use her emotions against her. She has learned that you can care about someone from a distance if being close to them is toxic for you. What makes the Queen of Swords so powerful in this reading, Taurus, is that she represents someone who has learned to trust themselves completely. When everyone around her is telling her she should forgive and forget, when society is pressuring her to give someone another chance, she trusts her own inner wisdom above all external opinions. She knows that she is the only one who has to live with the consequences of her choices. The Queen of Swords is also telling me that you are going to see this entire situation as a learning experience rather than a tragedy. You are going to recognize that this person coming back desperate and broken is not really about you. It is about them avoiding the spiritual growth that this crisis is meant to catalyze. And you are wise enough now to not interfere with someone else's necessary lessons. This card represents your refusal to be anyone's savior or security blanket, Taurus. The Queen of Swords knows that when you rescue someone from the consequences of their choices, you rob them of the opportunity to develop their own strength and wisdom. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no and mean it. Now let me see what the ultimate outcome of this entire situation is going to be, and Taurus, I am getting chills. The final card I am pulling is Justice Upright. This represents the universe restoring balance and ensuring that everyone gets exactly what they deserve based on their choices and actions. Justice tells me that this entire situation, as painful as it is actually the universe correcting an imbalance that has existed for far too long. This person has been taking from you emotionally, energetically, and possibly materially while giving very little authentic value in return. The scales have been tipped in their favor and now they are being balanced. The Justice card is showing me that you are going to come out of this situation stronger and more aligned with your authentic self than ever before. While this other person loses everything external, you are going to gain something much more valuable. You are going to gain unshakable self-respect and the knowledge that you can trust your own judgment completely. Justice represents the cosmic law that says what you put out comes back to you multiplied. This person put out deception, manipulation, and betrayal, and now they are receiving isolation, loss, and desperation. But you put out genuine care, loyalty, and authenticity, and you are going to receive clarity, strength, and ultimately much healthier relationships. This card is telling me that when this person comes back to you desperate and broken, it is not actually about getting you back. It is about the universe giving you the opportunity to demonstrate your growth and your boundaries. It is about you proving to yourself that you will never again accept less than you deserve from anyone. Justice also represents the truth coming to light in a way that cannot be denied or explained away. When this person's secret is exposed, it is going to be so clear and so undeniable that they cannot manipulate the narrative or make excuses. Everyone who has been fooled by them is going to see exactly who they really are, and there will be no going back to the way things were before. The Justice card tells me that this exposure is not going to be a he said, she said situation, Taurus. This is going to be concrete evidence that proves beyond any doubt that this person has been living a lie. The truth is going to come out in such a way that even their most loyal supporters cannot defend them anymore. What makes Justice so powerful in this reading is that it represents divine timing. This secret is not being exposed randomly. It is being exposed at exactly the right moment when you are strong enough to handle the truth and wise enough to make healthy choices about how you respond. If this had happened earlier, you might have been devastated. If it happens now, you are prepared. Justice is also telling me that this person coming back to you is going to be the final test of your spiritual evolution. Are you going to fall back into old patterns of rescuing and enabling, or are you going to stand in your power and maintain your boundaries? The universe is giving you this opportunity to prove to yourself how much you have grown. But let me be very clear about something, Taurus. Justice does not mean you should be cruel or vindictive toward this person when they come back desperate. Justice means you respond with integrity and authenticity. You can have compassion for their suffering while still protecting your own energy and well-being. You can acknowledge their pain without taking responsibility for fixing it. The Justice card is showing me that the highest and most loving response when this person comes back is to speak your truth clearly and then step back and let them deal with the consequences of their choices. You are not responsible for saving them from their own lessons. You are only responsible for honoring your own growth and protecting your own energy. Justice tells me that if you maintain your boundaries and refuse to rescue this person, they will eventually be forced to do the inner work necessary to become someone worthy of authentic love and connection. But if you cave to their manipulation and emotional blackmail, you rob them of that opportunity for growth and you betray your own evolution. Taurus, I need you to understand something very important about this entire situation. This is not happening to you. This is happening for you. Every betrayal, every lie, every moment of manipulation has been preparing you for this moment when you get to choose who you want to be moving forward. Do you want to be someone who accepts crumbs of affection from people who do not value you, or do you want to be someone who demands authentic love and respect? The Justice card is telling me that this situation is actually a graduation ceremony for your emotional and spiritual evolution. You have been in training for this moment without even knowing it. Every boundary you have learned to set, every red flag you have learned to recognize, every time you have chosen to trust your intuition over someone else's words has been preparing you for this test. When this person comes back, broken and desperate, they are going to try every manipulation technique they have ever used on you, and probably some new ones too. They are going to promise to change. They are going to blame their behavior on trauma or circumstances. They are going to make you feel guilty for not being more understanding. But justice tells me you are going to see right through all of it because you have finally learned that actions speak louder than words and patterns speak louder than promises. The most beautiful part of the Justice energy, Taurus, is that it represents you stepping into your full power as someone who knows their worth and refuses to settle for less. When you maintain your boundaries with this person, you are not just protecting yourself from their dysfunction. You are also modeling for them what healthy self-respect looks like. You are showing them that authentic people do not enable other people's bad behavior just to maintain relationships. Justice is also telling me that this experience is going to completely transform your relationship standards moving forward. You are never again going to ignore red flags or make excuses for people who show you through their actions that they do not respect you. You are never again going to confuse intensity for intimacy or chaos for passion. You have learned the difference between someone who loves you and someone who needs you. Now, Taurus, I want to talk to you about something that might be difficult to hear, but is absolutely essential for you to understand. When this person's secret is exposed and they lose everything and come running back to you, part of you might feel sorry for them. Part of you might think that because they are suffering, they have learned their lesson and deserve another chance. But justice is warning you that suffering does not automatically equal growth. Some people go through devastating experiences and come out the other side with more wisdom, compassion, and integrity than they had before, but other people go through devastating experiences and just become better at hiding their dysfunction or more skilled at manipulation. The fact that someone has lost everything does not necessarily mean they have gained the insight necessary to be a healthy partner. Justice is telling me that when this person comes back, you need to look for evidence of genuine change, not just claims of change. Has their behavior actually shifted in measurable ways, or are they just saying what they think you want to hear? Are they taking full responsibility for their choices, or are they still making excuses and blaming circumstances? Are they focused on how they can rebuild trust, or are they focused on how quickly they can get back to the way things were before? The Justice card represents the cosmic principle that true change requires facing the shadow aspects of yourself that created the problem in the first place. It is not enough for this person to feel sorry about the consequences of their choices. They need to understand why they made those choices and do the deep inner work necessary to heal whatever wounds or fears drove them to live such an inauthentic life. Justice is also telling me that if this person has not done that inner work, their desperation when they come back to you is not actually about love or genuine remorse. It is about panic and the need for someone to make them feel better about themselves. They want you to provide the validation and security that they lost when their secret was exposed, but they do not want to do the work necessary to become someone who deserves that validation and security. Taurus. The Justice card is asking you to be very honest with yourself about what you actually want from this person and this situation. Do you want them to come back because you genuinely believe they can become someone who adds value to your life? Or do you want them to come back because being needed makes you feel important? Do you want to help them heal because you see their potential or because rescuing people has become your identity? Justice represents the need for brutal honesty with yourself about your own patterns and motivations. Sometimes we keep people in our lives who are unhealthy for us because their dysfunction serves something in us that we have not healed yet. Maybe their neediness makes us feel valuable, or their chaos makes our lives feel exciting, or their problems distract us from dealing with our own issues. The Justice energy is calling you to examine whether your compassion for this person is actually healthy compassion, or if it is codependency disguised as love. Healthy compassion has boundaries. Healthy compassion does not sacrifice your well-being for someone else's comfort. Healthy compassion recognizes that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to enable someone's avoidance of growth. But justice is also telling me that you have evolved beyond the need to rescue people, Taurus. You have learned that your value does not come from being indispensable to someone who cannot take care of themselves. You have learned that real love requires two whole people choosing to share their lives, not one person carrying another person who refuses to carry themselves. Now, I want to share with you exactly what I see happening when this person's secret comes to light, because the details are absolutely mind-blowing, Taurus. I am seeing this exposure happening in a very public way. This is not going to be something that stays private between the people directly involved. This secret is going to become public knowledge in a way that makes it impossible for this person to control the narrative or minimize the damage. I am seeing social media playing a major role in how this secret gets exposed. Either someone posts evidence online, or the story spreads through social platforms in a way that reaches everyone in this person's social circle simultaneously. There is no way for them to tell different versions of the story to different people because everyone finds out the same information at the same time. The energy I am picking up suggests this person has been living a double life that involves other people who also did not know about each other. When the secret comes out, it is not just going to devastate them. It is going to devastate multiple people who thought they knew who this person really was. There are going to be other people feeling just as shocked and betrayed as you have felt. I am also seeing financial consequences that go beyond just personal embarrassment. This person's deception has legal or professional implications that result in them losing their income or facing serious penalties. This is not just about their personal relationships falling apart. This is about their entire life structure collapsing because it was built on lies. The timeline I am seeing suggests this exposure happens relatively quickly once it starts, Taurus. This is not going to be a gradual revelation where pieces of the truth come out over time. This is going to be a complete and total exposure that happens within days or weeks. One moment this person thinks their secret is safe, and the next moment everyone knows the truth. What makes this even more intense is that I am seeing this person trying desperately to do damage control once the secret is out, but every attempt they make to explain or justify their behavior only makes things worse. They are going to discover that when you have been living a lie for a long time, people stop believing anything you say, even when you are telling the truth. I am also picking up that there are people in this person's life who suspected something was not right, but never spoke up about their concerns. When the truth comes out, these people are going to feel guilty for not saying something sooner, and that guilt is going to add to this person's isolation because even their supporters are going to be questioning their own judgment for defending someone they should have seen through. The energy around this person after the exposure is absolutely devastating, Taurus. I am seeing them completely alone, unable to sleep, unable to eat, obsessively checking their phone to see if anyone has reached out to them. They are experiencing the deepest loneliness of their life because they are finally facing the reality of who they are without all the lies and manipulations they used to get people to care about them. This is when they start thinking about you constantly. In their mind, you represent the only relationship they had that was not completely built on deception. Even though they were lying to you too, there were moments of genuine connection that they remember as the only authentic experiences they have had in years. You become their fantasy of salvation and redemption. But here is what they do not understand, Taurus. Those moments of genuine connection you shared were not as genuine as they remember them because they were still living a lie. They were still withholding huge parts of themselves from you. They were still manipulating the relationship to serve their needs. The connection they remember was real on your side, but it was strategic on their side. When they start reaching out to you, they are going to reference those moments obsessively. They are going to try to convince you that the real them is the person you saw in those brief moments of authenticity, and that everything else was just them being scared or confused. But the truth is, the person who chose to live a lie for so long is the real them, and those moments of authenticity were actually the aberration. I am seeing them becoming increasingly desperate as they realize you are not immediately welcoming them back with open arms. They are going to escalate their attempts to contact you, and their emotional appeals are going to become more and more intense. They might show up at your work or your home. They might contact your friends or family members to try to get them to advocate for them. They might even threaten to harm themselves if you do not respond to them. But Taurus, this is where the justice energy becomes so important. All of these escalating behaviors are actually proof that they have not learned anything from their experience. A person who had genuinely grown from this crisis would respect your boundaries even if they did not like them. They would understand that their actions have consequences and that one of those consequences might be losing you forever. The fact that they cannot accept your boundaries or respect your need for space shows that they are still operating from the same entitled mindset that allowed them to deceive you in the first place. They still believe they should get what they want from you regardless of what you want for yourself. They still see you as existing to serve their needs rather than as a separate person with your own agency and preferences. This is going to be the hardest part of this entire experience, Taurus. Watching someone you cared about spiral into increasingly unhealthy behavior while knowing that helping them would actually hurt both of you. It is going to take every ounce of strength and wisdom you have developed to maintain your boundaries while they are falling apart. But this is exactly the test the universe is giving you to prove how much you have grown. Taurus. I also want you to understand that this person's desperation when they come back to you is not actually love, even though they will call it that. Real love wants what is best for the other person, even when that means sacrificing what you want for yourself. Real love respects boundaries and accepts consequences. Real love takes responsibility for harm it has caused and works to repair that harm without expecting immediate forgiveness or reconciliation. What this person is feeling is not love. It is panic, need, addiction to your energy, fear of abandonment, and narcissistic injury from being rejected by someone they took for granted. They are not missing you specifically. They are missing having someone who made them feel good about themselves despite their terrible choices. They are missing having access to your emotional labor and support without having to reciprocate authentically. When they tell you they love you and cannot live without you, what they really mean is they cannot live without the function you served in their life. They cannot live without having someone who accepts them unconditionally, regardless of how badly they behave. They cannot live without having someone whose forgiveness allows them to avoid facing their own shame and guilt. But Taurus, you are no longer available to serve that function in anyone's life because you have learned that your love and energy are precious resources that should only be shared with people who cherish and reciprocate them. You have learned that unconditional love does not mean accepting unacceptable behavior. You have learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone face the natural consequences of their choices without interference. The justice energy is showing me that this entire situation is preparing you for the healthiest and most authentic relationship of your life. Someone is coming who will see your worth immediately and will never make you question whether you are valued or respected. Someone is coming who will be completely transparent with you because they will have nothing to hide. Someone is coming who will add to your life instead of draining from it. But that person cannot arrive while you are still entangled with someone who does not deserve access to your energy. The universe is clearing out everyone who has been taking advantage of your big heart so that you have space for someone who will treasure it. This painful situation with your deceptive person is actually the universe making room for your blessing. Taurus. The most important thing for you to remember throughout this entire experience is that you did nothing wrong. You loved authentically, you trusted genuinely, you gave generously. The fact that someone took advantage of those beautiful qualities does not mean you should become cynical or closed off. It means you should become more discerning about who gets access to those qualities. Your compassion is not naive. Your forgiveness is not weakness. Your desire to see the best in people is not foolishness. These are spiritual gifts that make you incredibly valuable to the right people. The wrong people will always try to exploit these gifts, but the right people will honor and protect them. This situation is teaching you the difference between the two. When this person comes back desperate and broken, remember that you can have compassion for their pain without taking responsibility for fixing it. You can acknowledge that they are suffering without believing that their suffering erases the harm they caused. You can hope for their healing and growth without needing to be the one who facilitates it. The Justice card is telling you that your job is not to save this person from their consequences. Your job is to honor your own growth and maintain the boundaries that protect your peace and well-being. If this person is meant to evolve and heal, they will find a way to do that work on their own. If they are not ready for that evolution, then no amount of love or support from you will change that. Taurus. I want you to know that I am seeing incredible things in your future once you move through this situation with the wisdom and strength you have developed. The energy around you is shifting in the most beautiful way, and I cannot wait to share what I am seeing. First, let me pull one more card to show you exactly what your life looks like after you successfully navigate this test. And wow, I am getting the 10 of Pentacles upright. Taurus. This is the card of lasting abundance, legacy, and being surrounded by people who genuinely love and value you. This represents the complete opposite of the chaos and deception you have been dealing with. The 10 of Pentacles tells me that once you maintain your boundaries with this desperate person and refuse to be manipulated back into their dysfunction, you open yourself up to receive the most stable and abundant period of your life. We are talking about financial security, emotional fulfillment, spiritual alignment, and being surrounded by a chosen family of people who see your worth and celebrate your growth. This card is showing me that everything you have learned through this painful experience with deception and betrayal becomes the foundation for creating unshakable security in every area of your life. The 10 of Pentacles represents someone who has learned to build their life on solid ground instead of on other people's promises or emotional manipulation. What makes the 10 of Pentacles so powerful in this position, Taurus, is that it represents generational healing. By refusing to accept toxic behavior and maintaining your boundaries, you are not just healing yourself. You are breaking cycles that have probably existed in your family or social circle for generations. You are modeling what healthy self-respect looks like, and that creates ripple effects that benefit everyone around you. The 10 of Pentacles also tells me that you are going to become someone other people look to for wisdom and guidance about relationships and boundaries. People are going to see how gracefully you handled this impossible situation, and they are going to want to learn from your example. Your pain is going to become your purpose as you help others recognize their own worth. This card is revealing that the abundance coming into your life is not just material, though that is definitely part of it. The 10 of Pentacles represents emotional abundance, spiritual abundance, the abundance of being genuinely known and loved for who you really are. You are going to experience what it feels like to be cherished instead of tolerated, celebrated instead of taken for granted. But let me tell you exactly what happens to this other person once they realize you are serious about your boundaries, because this part is absolutely fascinating, Taurus. When they finally accept that you are not going to rescue them from their consequences, they go through what I call the narcissistic collapse phase. This is when their false self completely disintegrates, and they are forced to confront their authentic self for the first time in years. Some people use this rock bottom experience as motivation to do genuine inner work and become better humans, but others double down on their victim mentality and spend the rest of their lives blaming everyone else for their problems instead of taking responsibility for their choices. The energy I am picking up around this person suggests they are going to choose the victim route initially, but there is potential for growth later if they get tired enough of being miserable. What I find most interesting is that once this person realizes you are truly done with them, they are going to try to find someone else to fulfill the function you used to serve in their life. They are going to look for another compassionate person with strong boundaries, who they can slowly wear down over time. But here's the thing. The universe is not going to send them someone like you until they have done the inner work necessary to deserve someone like you. I am also seeing this person eventually trying to hoover you back in through mutual friends or by creating fake emergencies that they hope will trigger your compassion. They might have a medical crisis or a family tragedy and hope that your caring nature will override your boundaries. But Taurus, you are going to see right through these manipulation tactics because you have learned that genuinely changed people do not need to manipulate others into caring about them. Years from now, this person might actually do the inner work necessary to become someone worthy of authentic love and connection. If that happens, they will understand that their behavior towards you was inexcusable, and they will not expect forgiveness or reconciliation. They will simply take responsibility for their choices and focus on becoming someone who never treats anyone the way they treated you again. But whether or not this person ever evolves is not your concern, Taurus. Your concern is building the most beautiful life possible with people who recognize your value from day one. Your concern is using everything you learned through this painful experience to create relationships that nourish your soul instead of draining your energy. Let me tell you about the person who is coming into your life to show you what real love looks like, because Taurus, this is going to restore your faith in authentic connection. I am seeing someone who has also been through their own trials and has developed the same level of wisdom and discernment that you have. This is not someone who needs to be fixed or saved. This is someone who has done their inner work and is ready for genuine partnership. This person is going to be completely transparent with you from the beginning. They are going to share their history, their struggles, their growth, their goals, everything. There will be no secrets, no hidden agendas, no gradual revelations that change your understanding of who they are. What you see is what you get, and what you see is going to be absolutely incredible. The most beautiful part about this connection, Taurus, is that it is going to feel easy in a way that surprises you. After dealing with so much drama and manipulation, you might think that real love has to be complicated and intense, but authentic love is actually peaceful, stable, and secure. It does not require constant proof or reassurance because both people show up consistently with their actions matching their words. This person is going to celebrate your boundaries instead of testing them. They are going to appreciate your wisdom instead of trying to manipulate your compassion. They are going to add value to your life instead of creating problems that you have to solve. They are going to love you for who you are right now instead of who they think they can turn you into. I am also seeing that this person comes into your life through your commitment to personal growth and healing. Maybe you meet them at a workshop or a spiritual retreat, or through a hobby you have picked up as part of your journey toward wholeness. The universe arranges this meeting as a reward for all the inner work you have done and continue to do. But Taurus, I need you to understand that this beautiful connection cannot happen while you are still energetically entangled with someone who brings chaos and drama into your life. The universe cannot deliver your blessing while your hands are full trying to fix someone who does not want to be fixed. You have to create space for what you want by releasing what no longer serves you. This is why maintaining your boundaries with the desperate person when they come back is so crucial. It is not just about protecting yourself from their dysfunction. It is about making energetic space for the love you actually deserve. Every moment you spend trying to help someone who has repeatedly shown you they do not respect you is a moment you are not available for someone who will treasure you. Now let me share some practical guidance about how to handle the situation when this person comes back, because I want you to be completely prepared, Taurus. First, remember that you do not owe them a lengthy explanation for your boundaries. A simple, "I am not available for this relationship anymore," is sufficient. You do not need to justify your decision or provide evidence for why you are making this choice. When they ask for another chance, remind yourself that chances are earned through consistent changed behavior over time, not through promises and emotional manipulation. Someone who has genuinely changed does not need to convince you of it. Their transformation will be obvious through their actions and their respect for your boundaries. If they threaten to harm themselves if you do not give them what they want, remember that you are not responsible for managing another adult's emotional regulation or safety. If you genuinely believe they might hurt themselves, contact emergency services, but do not allow threats of self-harm to manipulate you into sacrificing your well-being for their comfort. When they try to use your shared history against you by reminding you of good times you had together, remember that those good times do not erase their patterns of deception and betrayal. A few moments of authenticity do not cancel out months or years of manipulation. You can appreciate the good memories without using them as justification for accepting unacceptable behavior. If they show up at your home or workplace, document everything but do not engage. Any response from you, even a negative one, reinforces their belief that persistence will eventually wear you down. Complete silence is the most powerful message you can send someone who is used to getting reactions from you through emotional manipulation. Taurus, I also want you to prepare for how other people might respond to your boundaries with this person. Some people are going to think you are being too harsh or unforgiving, especially if this person puts on a good show of being remorseful and changed. But remember that these people have not lived your experience, and they do not get a vote in your healing journey. There might be mutual friends who try to convince you to give this person another chance, or who make you feel guilty for not being more compassionate. But anyone who tries to guilt you into accepting toxic behavior is showing you that they do not understand healthy relationships either. Their opinion should carry no weight in your decision-making process. Some people are going to be uncomfortable with your strength and your boundaries because it challenges their own acceptance of mediocre treatment in their relationships. Your refusal to settle might make them question why they continue to accept less than they deserve. This is their issue to work through, not your responsibility to manage by lowering your standards. The people who truly love and support you are going to celebrate your growth and respect your boundaries, even if they do not fully understand the situation. They are going to trust your judgment and support your decisions because they want what is best for you. These are the voices you should listen to when you are questioning yourself. Taurus, there is going to be one moment during this entire experience that becomes a defining point in your personal evolution. It is the moment when this desperate person is standing in front of you using every manipulation technique they have ever learned, and you feel absolutely nothing except mild annoyance at having your time wasted. That moment of emotional detachment is when you know you have completely healed from their impact on your life. This moment is incredibly powerful because it shows you that all their power over you was based on your emotional investment in them. Once that investment is withdrawn, they become just another person making unreasonable demands that you have no obligation to fulfill. They lose their ability to trigger your guilt, your compassion, your fear, your anger, everything that they used to use to control your responses. When you reach this level of detachment, Taurus, you will understand why the universe had to take you through this experience. You will see that every moment of pain and confusion was preparing you for unshakable inner peace and self-trust. You will realize that you are now impossible to manipulate because you finally know your worth and refuse to accept anything less than what you deserve. But let me tell you about the most beautiful part of your healing journey. Once you have completely released this toxic person and situation, you are going to look back and feel grateful for the experience. Not grateful for the pain, but grateful for the growth. Not grateful for the betrayal, but grateful for the wisdom. Not grateful for the deception, but grateful for the discernment it taught you. You are going to see that this person was actually a teacher in disguise, showing you everything you never want to accept in a relationship again. They showed you what manipulation looks like so you can recognize it immediately in the future. They showed you what emotional unavailability feels like so you never settle for crumbs of affection again. They showed you what it costs to ignore red flags so you trust your intuition, completely moving forward. Most importantly, Taurus, they showed you what you are capable of surviving and overcoming. They showed you that you are strong enough to walk away from anyone who does not treat you with the respect you deserve. They showed you that your happiness does not depend on any other person and that you can create a beautiful life with or without romantic partnership. This experience is going to become one of your greatest sources of strength and confidence. When future challenges arise, you will remember that you survived this, and you will know that you can handle anything. When people try to test your boundaries, you will remember what happened when you did not have boundaries, and you will maintain them effortlessly. The person you are becoming through this experience, Taurus, is someone I am absolutely in awe of. You are becoming someone who loves deeply but wisely. Someone who gives generously but not to people who waste your gifts. Someone who trusts their intuition above all external opinions. Someone who knows that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no and mean it. You are becoming someone who understands that your energy is sacred and should only be shared with people who honor it. Someone who knows the difference between being alone and being lonely. Someone who would rather be single forever than settle for a relationship that does not nourish their soul. Someone who has learned that self-respect is not selfish. It is essential. Taurus. As we come to the end of this reading, I want you to remember that everything I have shared with you is not just prediction, it is preparation. The universe is giving you advance warning about what is coming so that you can make conscious choices about how you want to respond instead of reacting from old patterns of people-pleasing and boundary violations. You have everything you need within you to navigate this situation with grace and wisdom. Trust your intuition above all other voices, including mine. Trust your boundaries even when other people question them. Trust your worth even when someone who used to matter to you treats you like you do not matter to them anymore. The shameful secret that is about to be exposed is not your shame to carry. The karma that is about to strike is not your karma to worry about. The desperation that is about to drive someone back to you is not your desperation to soothe. Your only job is to honor your own growth and protect your own peace while this other person faces the consequences of their choices. Remember, Taurus, that you are not responsible for other people's healing journeys. You are not responsible for other people's emotional regulation. You are not responsible for other people's consequences. You are only responsible for your own choices and your own responses and the beautiful life you are creating through your commitment to personal growth and authentic connection. The future I see for you once you move through this test is absolutely radiant. You're surrounded by people who celebrate you, engaged in work that fulfills you, living in a space that nurtures you, and connected to your own inner wisdom in a way that makes you unshakable. This difficult period is the bridge between where you have been and where you are going, and it is almost over. Stay strong, Taurus. Trust your growth, honor your boundaries, and know that the universe is orchestrating everything perfectly to bring you exactly what your soul needs to thrive. The best is yet to come, and you are going to be so proud of how you handled this situation when you look back on it from your place of abundance and joy. This reading is complete, but your journey toward everything you deserve is just beginning. I am so excited for you to experience the love, respect, and appreciation that are coming your way once you make space for them by releasing what no longer serves your highest good.